Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Dear Dhamma friends, since a couple of weeks we were learning Satipatthana Sutta, and we were trying to learn to have a practice in our day-to-day life. So that is the important thing to do. Because usually we try to do the Satipatthana entirely in a one course or one way, but I ask you to do it separately. Just let it go all the bigger parts. Just observe what we are doing, and now we will see at how that separate practices comes combined or come together, because after the Chittanupassana, the mindfulness on mind, there is come Dhammanupassana. So by Dhamma, we are looking toward Dhamma. It means phenomena. All the things naturally happens. Looking at them is called Dhammanupassana. Okay. So in this Dhammanupassana has several different parts. Pancha Nivarana, the 5 hindrances. Pancha Upadana Skandha, the 5 aggregates of clinging. Then Ayatana, the 6 senses. 7 factors of enlightenment. And then 4 noble truths. But I will let you know that we will do only 2 in this class. First, we will do today Pancha Nivarana. And then next one, we will do Pancha Upadana Skandha with the Ayatana. Very short Ayatana. Then we will learn that what the Dhammanupassana explains to us. How it will help us to progress in Eightfold Path. Okay? So that will be the task. Okay. So last week we learned how our mind works, how our thoughts and process happens. Today we're going to learn Dhammanupassana. Katancha bhikkave bhikkhu dhammesu dhammanupassi viharati. Monks, how does a monk abates observing phenomena as a phenomena? It says, Ida bhikkave bhikkhu dhammesu dhammanupassi viharati panchasu nivaranesu. Monks, a monk abates observing phenomena as a phenomena in relation to 5 obstacles. So the hindrances are obstacles. Supreme Buddha mentioned further how these hindrances are actually, we have to see them. Supreme Buddha has mentioned the 5 nivara aggregates. It means like covering ourselves, whatever it arises. So if we cover something like any trees growing up and you shelter it, you covered it, what will happen? The tree cannot grow further. So the 5 hindrances is something like that. It stops you from growth. It stops you from going further. That Supreme Buddha has given the different simile for that too. What Supreme Buddha mentioned? Supreme Buddha said these 5 nivara, the 5 aggregates of clinging. 5 hindrances. 5 hindrances are dangerous one. These 5 one are the akusala, all the unwholesome deeds gives chance to sprout from these 5 hindrances. So Prabhupada mentioned in the Nivarana Sutta, he says, Andhakarana, these 5 hindrances, what it does, it blinds us to see, look at the reality. You know? Whenever you try to do the meditation, or whenever you're trying to develop the wholesome deeds in your life, these 5 hindrances will affect on us. Like simple thing. It happens for the natural things also. It's like worldly things, what you do, like study and all, and that time also work. But it specially affects you. It specially becomes obstacles when you do practice meditation, and that's why we have to learn. We have to overcome these hindrances. How to overcome all these hindrances, we will learn in the Samyak Pradhana, the effort what we take, the right effort what we take in that way, in that. So Prabhupada mentioned, Andhakarana, these 5 hindrances blinds us, it stops us from looking the reality. Okay. Achakkukarana. So what the view you have toward this, it stops you from that. You cannot see clearly. Then say, Ajnana Karana, the knowledge, or when you are practicing, developing meditation, on that time, whatever sensation, feelings you're observing, what the progress you are having, the knowledge you are gaining, these 5 hindrances will stop you or clean you entirely the knowledge of you. And that's why Suprabhupada said, Ajnana Karana, the knowledge will be gone. Panya Nirodhita. Panya Nirodhita means obstacle for wisdom, or stops you from looking the reality, or stops you from seeing what as it is. No? That's called Panya Nirodhita, stops you from realization. Anibbana Samvattaniko means it stops you from realizing or escaping from this all the suffering, stops you from that. It does not help. These 5 hindrances does not help for realization of 4 noble truths. Means you can understand, as long as these 5 hindrances exist in us, or exist for a long time, but what it called governs on us or have the grip on us, up to that point it will be very difficult, very hard for us to keep practicing or trying or keeping track for realization. And that's why this one comes in the Dhammanupasana, because Satipatthana with the kaya, the body, it's easier to watch. Like the movement, what we learn first, how beautiful Supreme Buddha has mentioned us, how beautifully he has shot out the path from the body, then the feeling, sensations, and then come to the mind, and then the nature of mind he has explained us to look at. And that's way we have to practice our path too. Like every time when you are thinking that I am going to do the Dhammanupassana or entire Satipatthana, first you have to go through the Kayanupassana too, to being aware, to getting rid of all the bigger things, distraction of your mind from different places, concentrating on the bigger part, on your body, then looking at that, how the body is feeling, what kind of sensations you have in that moment. And then regarding this sensation, what kind of thoughts or what kind of mind you have created. Observing that. And then once you do that, you will find these five hindrances becomes obstacles to see or go further from there. And seeing that if they exist or not, that is called Dhammanupassana in five hindrances. And we're going to learn that. So, Supreme Buddha gave the name for Andhakarana, Achakkukarana, Ajnanakarana, Panya Nirodhita, Anibbana Sanvattaniko, means it blinds us, it stops us from looking the reality, then the knowledge what we have gained, it's wiped it completely, and the wisdom, it stops you or stops us from gaining the wisdom more, and it does not help or suitable for realization of enlightenment. So, what are these five hindrances then? Supreme Buddha mentioned Kamachanda. Kamachanda is the first hindrances. Second one is called Vyapad. Third one is called Thinamidda. Fourth one is Uddacha Kukkucha and Vichikicha. So, Kamachanda, it means sensual desire. Or all sensual things, whatever the desire we have, it's about Kamachanda. So, Rupa, Shabda, Gandha, so the sound or the forms, sounds, smell or odors, taste, and then Potthabha, it means touch or tangibles. Okay, these things, it has the desirable qualities. So when these five things or this panelist comes together, the sensual desire arises, and that sensual desire, the attraction toward it, it's called Kama Chanda. It simply has a meaning. Chanda, it means desire. Chanda, it means wanting it. Kama means the sensual things. So Kama Chanda, it has that. Then sensual desire, it's Kama Chanda. Then Supreme Buddha mentioned Vyapad. What is the second one is called? Vyapad. It means ill will or hatred. So the Vyapad, regarding what? It's not about any particular person or anything. It's the Dhammanupassana. It's more smaller thing that the hatred or the what it called not liking someone. That one is not about this. It is about this inside inner form. It does not it's directly with any particular person or that. Okay, this one, the desire, and this one is attached with these forms, like the forms, sounds, smell or odors or that taste and tangibles regarding them, the liking and disliking what it is. It is about to observe that. It's a bigger thing that when you hate someone, when you dislike someone, that you can see. But that dislike does not come automatically. It has a divided part. You don't like that particular thing, and that's why you hate. That hatred is start with you hate someone, the particular person, when you hear that they have said something wrong about you, they have said something bad about you, and the quarrel begins from there. So looking that, it's not important. Looking this one, the smaller things. What? That every day what you are having. If you see any form and you dislike it, then immediately, yes, that is the path. If you see that if you hear something and it's not suiting you, it's bothering you a lot, you dislike that, that is called the path. Then the taste, some of the time you may see the people try to eat something and then immediately they throw it up, because they dislike the taste. That is the form of path. Then the tangibles also. that we mind our personal boundary, the personal space, and anyone invade that, how we feel. That thing is called. So understanding it that I don't like it. Disliking something does not has to be a hateful things entirely. That I hate something like that. Not like that. You dislike, once you dislike something, that then comes the category of Vyapad. Simple. So that one, the sleepiness, drowsiness. So when you are practicing four foundation of mindfulness or any meditation, when you are doing it, you will see you fall asleep very easily. You make it's we are really becomes a little bit of what it called sleepy. When you study, that time also it happens. Reading books, sometimes that happens, but never happens when you watch movies. Never happens when you go on the rides. Never happens when you're looking at something amusing thing, you know. So simply, when you are trying to concentrate and trying to develop the wholesome thoughts in your mind, wholesomeness, in that time, this sleepiness and drowsiness attacks on you. You know, that's why Supreme Buddha is called. It is a nibbard, the hindrances for life. Uddhachipupucha. It means restlessness. So you may have observed sometime that entire time of period, so not a single moment you have stopped thinking. And that is called restlessness. Vichikiccha, the doubts regarding that am I doing correct or not? Is this right? Something is forgotten there? Or have I heard properly or not? Such a thought has come into the Vichikiccha. The doubts on the knowledge of or enlightenment of Supreme Buddha, that is called Vichikiccha. So these are the 5 hindrances Supreme Buddha mentioned to see. And practicing this becomes a phenomenon. It is related completely. It has a completely sheltered our life from seeing truth, looking at reality. Stops you. Whenever you progress in meditation, the first this will attack on you. If you cross this, and then path becomes a little bit more easier. So, how the Supreme Buddha says, Kamachanda, it's always when you look at any object, like the forms, any object, it means all 5 things, like forms, sounds, odors, taste, and tangibles. These 5 things, when you see them with as a, this is a good, likable, appreciable, agreeable way, it means simply looking at them as a subha, the good, then that your thought process is yes, this is good. So you will have automatically attraction and desire toward them. That is comes in the kama chand. Vyapad. Vyapad, it means whenever, opposite of it. Whenever you have that thought, not liking it, disliking, not wanting it. So simply undesirable. Such a things becomes it takes you, transform you into the hatred also. That for like some people hate particular foods. I hate that food. They say, how they say it? They may have tasted it one of the time and they dislike the taste. And that's all. Or they may have seen the process, how they make it, and they dislike. So that dislike is called vyapad. We have to mindful that. Supreme Buddha mentioned that how these things, these 5 hindrances, because we know how the 5 hindrances is. What the Supreme Buddha mentioned here, that how to see the 5 hindrances when you are practicing Satipatthana. How is? Ida bhikkave bhikkhu santam va ajjattam kamachandam attime ajjattam kamachandam ti pajanati. What the Buddha mentioned here, that this monk, when he is practicing the mindfulness of phenomena, on that time he becomes mindful of santam, means existence of kamachanda in this moment in me. So you have to be mindful when you are practicing now. For the next week, entire week, try to be mindful. Just you don't have to act on it to get rid of. You don't have to dislike it. You don't have to do. Just when you sit down for meditation, be mindful. Like what? These steps. Atti me ajjattam kamachanda. That in me there is a kamachanda present in this moment. So the desirable things is there to see. You know. Then asantangva ajjattam kamachanda. Natti me ajjattam kamachandanti pajanati. Second step is I do not have the desirable thoughts in this moment. I do not have sensual desire at this present moment. To be mindful of that. Then Supremana mentioned, Yatocha anupannasa kamachandasa uppado hoti tancha pajanati. It means, up to this point, you did not have the sensual desire. But now, this sensual desire has arisen in me in this particular moment. You have to be mindful of that. It's a beautiful task to do, but really very hard to do. Once you do, you will find the process of sensual desire will be increased a little bit. Because once you pay attention, it does. So do not let that happen strongly, or do not go with the flow with that. Just observe that in this moment, the sensual desire has grown. You know, like the way that every time when you see the several hoardings, when you're traveling from your home to office or going somewhere, there are a lot of billboards, huge banners. You don't observe them, but something is a catchy there. You remember that is, and next time when you're driving, you pay more attention toward that. Or you want to know what it is, what has changed. That time, that the desire has arisen to see that again, then the process will happen in what matter, why you wanted to see that. That is an entirely different thing. The thing is that you wanted to see it again, and that is a desire. I'm not saying it's entirely wrong. I'm not saying it is entirely correct either. The process will happen later. That you have a sensual desire in this moment. That's some of the time you see the another person, it attracts you. You see them again and again. Look at them. That is sensual desire. It's not sometimes the first things we give. I'm appreciating beauty. That's why the word we use. But inside the process has changed. So observing that thing happened, it wasn't there before. It has arrived this moment when you look at someone. That is called Anupannasa Kamachandasa Uppadohuti. The sensual desire, what was not there yet, it has arisen. That is to observe. Then, Yatocha Uppannasa Kamachandasa Pahanam Hoti. With a small time, like immediately if you say that, okay, that is a sensual desire. And if you look at them, okay, it's not useful for me, then automatically you will see that desire, sensual desire has subsided. When it subsides, that, okay, now my sensual desire has subsided. It has finished. It is not there yet, not anymore. At this moment, you have to be mindful of that. Then Supreme Buddha mentioned, Yatocha pahina sakama chandas ayating anupado hoti tancha pajanati. That will not happen with you or me in this time. This is called for the permanency. It is for enlightenment. Yet, ayating anupado hoti. It means it will never arise again. And that is very hard for us. For some of the time we see that this is not good and we battle to stop it from growing. That's all. But again, that certain things will happen and automatically this desire will increase. Supreme Buddha said this one, ayating anupadu. It means again, it will not happen. So such a state will come when you comes close to the enlightenment. But be mindful up to this point. You have to be mindful of what? That I have sensual desire in this moment, horizon. This moment, sensual, I do not have any sensual desire. These two steps. Then the sensual desire has arisen in this moment. Sensual desire has finished from this moment. These 4 steps you have to be mindful of. You have to be mindful, and that is called Dhammanupassana. See, this is the hard thing, harder than looking at your body, observing of body, developing mindfulness of body. It is more harder to look at this Dhammanupassana, thinking of Nivarana. And that's why Supreme Buddha said it's 4th one, not the first one. So once you do that Nivarana, Kama, Chanda, if you see, you will see the truth that it just how it has stopped you from growing further in meditation. Then Supreme Buddha explained the next one, the Vyapada. Vyapada, it means all the things which is undesirable. Like you look at something, you don't like, you dislike them, then, oh, this is not good. Even that thought is the glimpse of Vyapada. So how that happened? By looking at the particular object and deciding, okay, this thing does not suit you. That is the entire process. But it comes to that. Then, for the hearing sounds also, any sound, any noise makes you irritate or not irritate. Anyone saying a simple word, a single word can cause the same thing, hatred. That is Vyapada. Undesirable thing. What things you don't like, such a thing is called Vyapada. Can you hear that voice noise? The machine?
Right now, Bhante? Is it right now? No. But every now and then there are sound coming from the background. Every now and.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Now a little bit. Yeah, but no, not too much.
Okay. Outside person has he has a puncture shop, so he fill the air tank. So that is the sound. I'm hearing it a lot. So I thought kill me also. So okay. Tomorrow I'm going to change the room, and it will be a little bit less noisy. So, okay. So the second thing. See, and I'm saying the undesirable thing. Immediately I hear the sound and immediately comes, oh, it may become obstacles for me. And then I'm okay, ask you. That is called Vyapada. Vyapada. It means up to this point, every day this happens. It never stops, never bothers. Because we know it's a routine. But when you try to concentrate on particular thing, the same thing becomes obstacles. Like every day you clean your home, the vacuum or washing dishes or something like that, But once you sit down for meditation and someone start the sink and try to wash the glass or something, and little bit of noise, it distracts you. That is, and immediately thoughts comes. Why this person, simply the Kevin, why he cannot stop from making the noise, This Rina's son, Kevin, So such a thought immediately comes, That is called vyapad. And what it did, it stops you from growing, stops you from concentrating on particular object. That is called hindrance. See, simple, beautiful example. There is. And it happens. So the Supreme Buddha mentioned observing it, observing, not to deal with it. Dealing with it, it is the next part. How to overcome this 5 hindrances is an entirely different thing. You need the effort. So the samma padhana, the effort what you take, those will help you. But for that, you have to be mindful what are those first place. When they arise, you have to be mindful. When they grow, you have to be mindful. When they subside or finish, you have to be mindful of that too. So Supreme Buddha says, Attime vyapad. When you have the vyapad, the hatred in you, regarding what? Regarding forms, sounds, odors, taste, and tangibles. Regarding this, when you have that hateful feeling, then this moment I am feeling angry. It's not about mind. Some of the time you bring all the thought process from the mind and it is a little bit heavy in your mind. It's not about that yet, this moment. Here, while you are practicing meditation, these 5 things, how they affect, that you have to be mindful. Then, natti me vyapada. In this moment, nothing is bothering you. Everything is suitable for you, everything is helping. Be mindful of that. Yes, I do not have any vyapada in this moment. See, for the kamachanda, you have to do the same. For the vyapada also, you have to do the same. One of the 5 always lingers with us, continuously. The 5 hindrances, it's not all together at once. It is one of them is there. So you have to be precise and mindful which one is there at this moment. So when there is a vyapad, be mindful that I am having hateful feeling, hatred in this moment. If you don't have, I do not have the hatred in this moment. So how you will do this? When every day when you practice meditation or staying in or concentrating on yourself, does not have to be closed eyes, does not have to stop the working. Any moment when you are working at your home, but you are concentrating yourself, paying attention to all the actions what you are doing, in that moment, you just have to see in you that, yes, I have a sensual desire in this moment. I do not have a sensual desire in this moment. I do not have the hateful feelings in this moment. I do have hateful feelings in this moment. That is, you have to observe. Then Supreme Buddha mentioned, Yatocha anuppannasa vyapadasa uppadahoti tancha pajanati. When unreasoned hatred or hateful feeling or hateful thoughts arise, that moment you have to be mindful of. Tancha pajanati. You become aware of it, that this thing has arisen in me. Pajanati means being aware, knowing. Then, yatoja uppannasya vyapadasya pahananoti. When your hateful thoughts finish or subside, that tamcha pajanati, you becomes aware of that too. So, how many places you have to be aware? When the vyapad, when the hatred arise in you, you have to be mindful of that moment. When it is not there, when the hatred or hateful feeling is not there, you have to be mindful of that too. Then, when the new hateful feeling or thought arising in your mind, you have to be mindful of that. When this hateful feeling or thought has subsiding, finishing, you have to be mindful of that. That this moment I do not have. Last one is yato yathacha pahinas vyapadas ayating anupado. That it comes to that certain state that it is never going to arise again. By the realization, it will never goes again. That thing you have to be mindful. But for that, you have to work hard and for long journey. Our teacher was here for a couple of days. Lakusaminanse, he was with us, still in India. And beauty of our teacher, the association, is really, really important to understand. And since he arrived here, continuously give advice to see the phenomenon in our life. Dhammanupasi, so all the surroundings, even the thought process what we have, how to be a monk, how to keep being monk, means you can be wearing robe, you can observing sila, but still your mind is not leaning toward monkhood, then it won't be possible to sustain. Teacher told us, yes, how to be that. And he said, the first thing you have to be mindful, that to be patient. Hastiness will not work in the path of Dhamma. Yeah, like most of the people, they think, I should attain enlightenment immediately, or they find shortcuts and have shortcuts, other things. It does not work in that way. Our teacher tells us that do it slowly. See the Buddha's time. It's not the era what we have today. Now we have this desire, sensual, desirable things, increase it in huge number. Hatred, it's more stronger than previous time. So you have to be patient to observe that. This Satipatthana, it also teaches the same thing. That how to observe with the patience. If you don't have that, then it becomes the hindrances. Observe that. Then the next one goes Santangva Ajatan Tinamitta, the sleepiness or drowsiness, what we have, the sloth. Whenever you see, when you sit down for meditation, for some of the time, immediately we start to do this, and then we feel, okay, I'm doing a huge number of meditation, but what we are doing, okay, some of the time, we have fall asleep, that what you call noise what we make, that also happened. Snoring also happened. Yeah. I have seen some of the time it happens, and we are unable or we are unaware of it. Be mindful for that. Be aware that this sleepiness or drowsiness is arising on you. So the Thina Mitta, Atime Thina Mitta, when you feel sleepy, you will see. Like if someone asks you to sit down for meditation for 2 hours, how we feel? 2 hours, I cannot. Within a 5 minutes, we feel, okay, I cannot sit down. I cannot. But for same thing, go for the concert, for any parties, going, listening music, that noise and everything. Almost is passing. Don't feel anything. Go for any gathering, school gathering or friends or marriage ceremonies. Go there. Time flies. Don't understand that. There is no sleepiness. Or we don't go and shake hands with the groom or bride and then say, oh, I'm feeling sleepy, let me go. No. We are very excited or take a couple of pictures. That happens. But once you sit down for meditation, how fresh you are. Even you just come from the shower, just take shower and then come and sit down for that. within a 5 or 10 minutes, the same process happens. That's why Supreme Buddha mentioned Thinamidda as the obstacles for the meditation. Hindrance stops you from growth, stops you from concentration. That we have to be mindful. But it does not happen for all the time. Some of the time, you feel very refreshed. Some of the time, you don't. So when you feel refreshed, that time you can say, yes, I'm not having a thinamidda in this moment. When you are not feeling refreshed, you are feeling sleepy, then I am feeling sleepy in this moment. Just be mindful, observing. Dealing with it, it will come next. Dealing with it, it will come later. First, to be observant. First, that you have to be mindful, the state, being aware of they exist or not. That is important. Then, asantangva tinamidda, ajatang tinamidda, that inside you do not have natime ajatang tinamiddanti pajanati. I do not have this sleepiness in this moment. I do not have this drowsiness in this moment. You have to be aware of that too. Then it goes restlessness, uddhacha kukkucha. You sit down with a fresh mind. Okay, I'm very fresh. I'm going to sit down for meditation. And immediately when it happens, you may have seen something in your coming from office to your home. You may have seen any accident or something, or you may have seen any particular, not a huge thing, very small one, but you have no noticed, and the thought process regarding it jump in your while you're concentrating, and the flow of those thoughts rush like a traffic. It's going to be jammed. Everything, such a strength. The stream of thoughts comes. That is called uddhacha kukkucha. Restlessness is there. There is no stopping thoughts. Being mindful at this moment, I'm having restlessness. I cannot stop the thought process. For this, you do not have to sit down for meditation. Because Satara Satipatthana, the four foundation of mindfulness, it's not about the folding your legs and sitting in one cushion and practicing it. The four foundation of mindfulness is living a life 24/7. So even in sleep, even you are waking up, going like we learn, even you go to the washroom and doing job, even that time you have to be mindful. So the restlessness, what it comes, that you have to be mindful. Oh, I cannot stop thinking. We know most of the time that this is useless, but we become unable to do. Like for some of the people, when they develop the generosity, the practice, thought process comes arising. Last time also I gave, what happened with that? Nothing is happening, going to happen. Why should I do? Why should not someone else? What the thought you had, the pure thought, stopping those thought process arise others as a form of hindrances. Hindrances' job is to stop you from growing, stop you from concentrating, stop you from developing goodness. That is the job of that. So then Supreme Buddha said, understanding that yes, existing of this uddhacha kukkucha, I am feeling restless in this moment. Being mindful of that. I'm not feeling restless in this moment. Being mindful of that. Like in 24/7, if you're going for job, working, that thing comes, just be mindful. Yes, that has thing arise in me. The thought process is happening. And each and everyone has that. Even me, not even me, it's a very simple thing. Even our teachers also. They also have these things because the obstacles for developing, it's a part of journey toward enlightenment. Without crossing these obstacles, you cannot succeed. That is a simple thing. Without examination, as you cannot go to the next class, you cannot achieve the goal in the same way. Without passing, without understanding these 5 hindrances, you cannot go further toward the jhanas, toward the realization, toward the enlightenment. So these 5 hindrances is a must know. You should must understand, you should must observe. And that is the important thing. Then last one is comes that santang va ajjatang vichikichang athime ajjatang vichikichati pajanati. When you see the doubts in your mind, then you athime ajjatang vichikichati pajanati. I'm having doubt in this moment. It can happen for any time. Like you may have done something good in your life, and later time you question about it. Did I have done something wrong, or was that correct to do? That doubt is called vichikicha, taking actions. Even for any opportunity comes from stealing, and then you too have that. Or Dhamma explains not to. But others are doing and they are not having any result. Why shouldn't I do? So that the thought comes, that is called doubt. And this doubt is regarding what? Regarding Dhamma. We have to be mindful of that too. I'm sure that not all of us will be able to stop it. Because same thing, it's like you're scolding someone, you're using bad word for someone, you know it's wrong, you know it's not good, but you see to others, oh, everyone is doing and no one is getting result of it, no one is getting punishment of it. Why shouldn't I? Something like that thoughts comes to our mind time to time. When you practice generosity, even in that time also happens. When you are practicing celibacy life, I am practicing celibacy in this moment, and the thought, what is the result of celibacy? Something thought comes to your mind. What will happen if I do these things, certain things? Such a doubt, when it arises in your mind, be aware that the doubt has arisen in my mind. Like in our monks book of Pratimukha, the code of conduct, there it mentioned some of the time that Supreme Buddha has mentioned Antarayika Dhamma, the obstacles for practicing Dhamma, Supreme Buddha has mentioned. But the big good things, sometimes, oh, that is not obstacles for me, that is not obstacle for anyone. It's not that. Such a thought is called as a doubt. When he says, it will stop you from going. So, goes all for all the practices. Why I should do this? There is no result. Why I should do this? There is nothing. Such a doubt is become hindrances. It stops you from having complete faith, having confidence. Stops you. The doubt is obstacle for confidence too, and severe one. So you have to be mindful of that. That whenever the doubt arises in you, be aware that doubt has arisen in me. When the doubt has subsided, when the doubt has gone, yes, I do not have doubt in this moment. You have to be mindful of that. Then, when the doubt is arising, like some of the time people say, oh, learn about your soul. Look at your soul, how it is working. And then immediately thought comes, so really the soul is there? But the Buddha has not mentioned the soul. He has denied the soul. But world is looking at the soul is there. Is there. That is called doubt. That doubt also. Unreasoned doubt has arisen. For the youngsters, the kids, or the growing one, They do not have the worries about that there is soul or not. But we put in their mind, and immediately their thought process also goes in the same way. Then when the doubts has subsided completely, when it was their doubt, and you have the yoniso manasikara, the process of thinking, the good thinking, wise consideration is there, automatically the doubt finishes. Then you be mindful. Okay, my doubt is finishing in this moment. It has finished in this moment. Aware, being aware. So these 5 hindrances, being mindful is very important. Being mindful is very important. You have to look at how to deal with them. We will learn. Like Ollie may have the question, Bante, yes, those are there, but how to deal with them? We will learn them when we practice the 4, what it called, effort, Sammapadana. Yeah. So when we do that, we will learn that how these 5 hindrances we can avoid, we can transform. So it will goes for all the Satipatthana. That's why I said Satipatthana, we will stop it up to this next 2 parts. And then the 7 Bojjhangas and the 8-fold path we will do later. So we can understand how to progress in the 4 sattras, Iddhipada, the Sammapadana, then Bal, how these things works. Okay, because 37 factors of enlightenments, it may be individual one, but they all together connected. And when they work completely connected, then the 8-fold path can be complete. Like all the parts, when they come together, then it becomes machines and that work properly. If it is not, there is a separate parts. So we will learn that. So today, from today to 1 week, what you have to do? You have to be observant of these things. That I am having sensual desire in this moment. I'm not having sensual desire in this moment. The sensual desire is arising in me. Sensual desire is finishing. Then hateful thoughts is arising in me, or I'm having the hatred in this moment. I'm not having the hatred in this moment. Say hateful thoughts is arising in me. Hateful thought is subsiding from me. Then I am feeling sleepy. I am having this sleepiness this moment. I am not having this sleepiness, drowsiness in this moment. This sleepiness, drowsiness is arising in me. This one is finishing in this moment. Then I'm not having any doubts. I'm having doubts in this moment. I do not have any doubts in this moment. I'm having the doubts are arising in me. Doubts are finishing. And restlessness, I'm having restlessness in this moment. I do not have restlessness in this moment. The restlessness is arising in me. Thought process is rushing and restlessness is finishing. No, my mind is getting calmer in this moment. So these 5 hindrances, just be mindful that these are there. Like when I'm telling you, I'm also trying to practice. Trying, okay? I'm not doing. Trying to practice the same thing, and it really gives a chance to see ourselves, understand the nature of ourselves. So later days we can determine, or later days we can understand in a way which way our practice should take more effort. So we can see that and we can understand that once we try to slowly practice in this way. So next week, try to observe these 5 hindrances, exist or not exist, arising and finishing. These 4 facts you should understand about these 5 hindrances, and that's all. Do not try to deal with them. Do not try to get rid of them immediately. Just be mindful. Yes, they are there. And that's all. Next week, we will learn about the 5 aggregates, how they work, how they play the role in our phenomena.